Delahunty.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Back to reality. Mr. Speaker, there is a whakatauki in Aotearoa that says whatu naro te tangata, toi tū te whenua. And it means people perish, but the land remains. And I want to talk today about the consensus amongst New Zealanders outside this House that looking after the environment for ourselves and for all living things is more important than destroying it. However,
Order.
Whether the land remains or not has become a dubious question under this government as more and more of it is opened up to block tenders, applications and exploration permits of all kinds. However, they are out of step, these people who are running our country, with what New Zealanders have built a consensus around for many years. And although we disagree on many things, and although we now face one of the most unequal societies that we've ever seen, there is still a core at the heart of our commitment to our environment. New Zealand citizens of all stripes know that without the environment there is no economy. And without the economy, the people and the environment together, we don't have a future. So it is very sad to hear the Minister today unable to answer my questions in the House, and indeed last week, about the details of his portfolio, because we do need some leadership around protecting the environment for future generations, and it isn't going to come from this government. In 2010, there was a very, very strong expression of the values of our country. 30,000 people marched down Queen Street and 40,000 people wrote submissions against mining and conservation land, specifically Schedule 4. That was an amazing expression of resistance to sexy coal and sexy gold. What it was a statement that there are things that we value together that are more important than a narrow, extractive 19th century vision of how to build a country. But the government had to change their strategy because they had such a clear message from the people of this country. I was proud to be one of the people at the front of that march, and on that day I saw a huge diversity of people express the values that the government has decided to ignore. And they've done that in a really interesting way because they couldn't win up front. They've done it through the backyard. They've done it through the manipulation of the Crown Minerals Act and through incursions into Schedule 4. So we'd just like to go through some of those interesting strategies that the government after 2010 in their single economic plan, which is to facilitate the multinational mining industry, they had to find a way around the enormous public opposition to this plan, and they had to find ways to undermine the public commitment that they had made and that they continue to say they make to this area known as Schedule 4. So what they did was change the Crown Minerals Act. That was one of the major tasks in order to hoodwink New Zealanders into thinking that they were committed to no mining, but actually creating a law that facilitated joint ministerial decision-making over the dock estate. They also gutted the dock estate. That was easily done in the budget. And then there were also all other strategies, such as paying for aerial surveys over the country to see where the minerals are so they could help the mining companies get hold of them, and indeed doing things like beefing up the Crown Minerals section of the Ministry of Energy and Resources, and putting out tenders for block offers, basically begging foreign large-scale mining companies to come in and take advantage of the minerals that they were determined to allow. But they also had to do something to undermine Schedule 4 without anyone noticing. And I live in an area called the Coromandel where we notice everything. And although the Minister of Energy was in short pants when I started working on mining, I've been doing this for 30 years, the people of my area, both younger and older, are very, very clear about what's happening to Schedule 4. So basically, how do we get round, Mr. Speaker, the fact that there is supposedly a mining ban, but we want to send a signal to the mining industry that mining is great? We do that, Mr. Speaker, by doing things like allowing drilling inside Schedule 4. So the Minister makes statements about the difference between exploratory drilling and drilling for mining because he doesn't understand the industry. Actually, drilling is drilling, and what they do is they send a tube down into the earth and they find out what's there, and then they decide whether it's worth mining or not. And the Minister has said they can do that in Schedule 4, in the most precious part of Aotearoa, where there is the strongest biodiversity, where our endangered species live, where our iconic landscapes are, and which should be set aside for future generations, and which allegedly they have. But no, they're drilling. So drilling's fine. Drilling is the new normal in Schedule 4. And what we have now today is that a mining permit, a dodgy mining permit, which allows all kinds of activities, supposedly just an exit shaft, but is in fact not, is allowed on Schedule 4. Watch this space,
Order.
because they're not going to win.
Members' time has expired. Melissa Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is something in Catherine Delahunty's speech that I quite liked, and I actually am going to use it.